Fox Sports.
We are Black Hawk. We are Sports Out.
It's time for Braves baseball from Turner Field in Atlanta. It's game 2 of our 4-game series between the homestanding Braves and the Fighting Friars. The San Diego Padres are red hot. And all year long, Braves baseball on Sports South is being presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. The right stuff, the low price, every day. Welcome to Turner Field, friends. Joe Simpson, Tom Glavine, Chip Carey with you for the second game of our series. San Diego won last night by a final of 4-1, and that coupled with the Nationals win against the Giants means the Braves are 5.5 games back now in the National League Eastern Division race. And fellas, if the Braves are to gain some ground tonight, they've got to find a way to solve a left-handed pitcher, which has been troublesome of late.
Yeah, it's been troublesome for them all year long. They've struggled against left-handed pitching, and they're kind of in the middle of the pack offensively in a lot of those categories. You see they're 19 and 25 overall, averaging 4 runs a game. Just a .244 batting average against and only a .300 on-base percentage. And as Chip mentioned, in their last 20 games, they've really struggled, only going 7 and 13. So their struggles against left-handers continued last night. And, Joe, they've got another tough one again tonight.
4th straight left-handed starter tonight in Clayton Richard for the San Diego Padres. If there's something to hang your hat on, it's the fact that even though he's got a good ERA and that the guy's a pretty good pitcher, he's never beaten the Braves. He's 0-4 against them lifetime, 0-3 in this ballpark. Tim Hudson, on the other hand, has never lost to the Padres, a 5-0 career mark. However, he's coming off a start that was a little puzzling against the Philadelphia Phillies, something you don't see very often from Tim. He was given a big lead and couldn't finish it.
So throw out the records for this San Diego ball club. They've won 8 of their last 10 ball games, and the schedule for this Atlanta club gets no easier after San Diego leaves town. A tough assignment tonight and a tough road ahead for Atlanta. We'll break that down for you as we move into the middle of August here at Turner Field in Atlanta. That and more right after this. 2 tonight between the Braves and the San Diego Padres here at Turner Field. And back upstairs, the Atlanta Ball Club, fellas, has about 6-7 weeks left on the regular season schedule. Only 16 games remained against winning clubs, but a lot of them are coming up in the next 2 weeks for this Atlanta team, and it's time for the Braves to make a move.
Yeah, the Braves have played real well recently, but it's been against some teams with sub-500 records. And coming up, even though these Padres have a sub-500 record, they're playing their best baseball of the year. So we factor them in with 3 games here and then 3 more at San Diego at the end of the month. And in between, boy, is it a tough road to hoe here, Tom, against the Dodgers, Nationals, and Giants.
Yeah, it's not an easy stretch. As you mentioned, the Padres, even though they're not a over 500 club, are a club that's playing really well right now. You've got 2 other teams in the Dodgers and the Giants that are in the mix with the Braves in terms of the playoff spot and that wild card spot. And then you have the Nationals. So that's not an easy stretch. They're all against good clubs. So even though maybe their overall schedule going down the stretch here is a little bit weak, this portion right here is not weak at all.
Well, let's not worry about what's happening 2 weeks from now. Let's worry about tonight. Let's see if the Braves can get even with San Diego in this 4-game set. It's game 2. Tim Hudson takes the ball for Atlanta. Clayton Richard for the Padres. And we'll have our starting lineups and first pitch right after this. In part by Academy Sports and Outdoors, by AT&T Uverse, by Delta Airlines, and by Toyota. Perfect night for baseball back at Turner Field. Glad you're with us across Braves country for game 2 of our series with the Padres. Joe, Tom, and Chip with you. Tom Hart will be along in a few moments as well. Atlanta has dropped its last 2 ball games. 4-1 was the score last night. Eric Stoltz was awfully impressive. He beat Mike Minor, whose record falls to 6-9, and Atlanta will face another left-hander tonight in Clayton Richard. Here's a look at how Bud Black lines up the 52 and 65 Padres. We'll get our first look at former Brave Mark Kotze, who gets the start in left field. Will Venables in the lineup too, and John Baker works behind the plate. He'll work in tandem with Clayton Richard tonight.
And they'll be facing the Braves. Right-hander Tim Hudson tonight. How'd he be making his 20th start on the year? 11-4 with a 3.77 ERA. Coming off a little bit of an odd start his last time out against Philadelphia. You see his 10 starts there against the Padres. Great career numbers, 5-0 with a 2.98 ERA. So hopefully that will continue and they can get things on track here for this homestand.
For Tim, his 4 keys to pitching success. Well, let's go back to the first inning again. He gave up a leadoff homer to Jimmy Rollins in that last start against Philadelphia. So first inning problems reared their ugly head again, and a few more ground balls. Once he got the lead in Philadelphia in that last start, even though he couldn't go the necessary 5 innings to get the win, he wasn't getting a ton of ground balls because he was in the middle of the plate. A little bit like Ben Sheets Sunday night in New York. His command, at least in the zone, in the strike zone, wasn't what you're accustomed to for Tim Hudson, and he's changing his luck. He's showing a little bit of sock tonight.
And he always gets some sock. Tim, the second highest supported pitcher in the National League as far as runs are concerned. Let's hope the outfield contributes to a Braves win tonight with Chipper and Freddie Freeman at the corners on the infield, and Brian McCann getting the start tonight behind the plate for Tim Hudson. Marvin Hudson will have the plate for game 2. Jordan Baker's at first. Ted Barrett's the umpire at second, and Brian Brunge will make the plays and calls over at third base. As we mentioned, very comfortable night. Winds out of the west at 8 miles per hour and 84 degrees. Our first pitch temperature. And there is the San Diego second baseman, Alexi Amarista. He was 0 for 3 in the series opener last night. That's upstairs, ball 2. That one found the mark.
Seemed like all the Braves are anxious to get back to work tonight. They got a good night's rest last night in their own beds, and while yesterday was kind of a rushed version, trying to get to the ballpark after an early morning arrival, I think tonight they were anxious to get back and try to erase that loss last night.
Erase last night's game and try to get back on that routine. Like you say, you get in late like that, and your routine just all messed up.
High fly to right. Reed Johnson gets the start for Jason Hayward this evening, and Reed's got it. Nice comeback for Hudson. Amarista is out number 1. Important, fellas, that Freddie rests some of his regulars. We're in a stretch now without a day off for quite some time. In fact, the next day off for the Braves is August 30th.
Well, I think that ties in a little bit with the 6-man rotation that we can talk about as we go along. But Jason also 8 for his last 40, so he'd cooled off a little bit, and a break for him, probably a welcome sight for him. Although he wouldn't admit to that. He wants to play every day.
Here's Everett Cabrera, the San Diego shortstop. He's batting .231 for the year. And a roller foul past first. Cabrera's from Nicaragua. Was originally with the Colorado Rockies. San Diego snatched him in the Rule 5 draft back in 2008. Last year was an injury-plagued season for him. He broke the hamate bone in his right hand in May, and then in August dislocated his left shoulder. And that limited him to just 2 major league games. Freddie Freeman at first, and that's the second out. And that brings up the player of the week in the National League, Chase Headley, and he showed us why last night.
Boy, did he ever. He turned that home run around last night that he hit after a couple of balls that seemed like they were hit pretty well by other guys and weren't able to get out of here. He turned that win around, and that, as we all know, in this ballpark is not an easy place to go deep, especially in the wings.
So 7 homers and 21 RBIs in the month of August for Chase Headley.
Yeah, that's 12 games. 21 RBIs in 12 games.
He is our SunTrust solid performer.
And 11 homers since the All-Star break. It's a good season for a lot of us.
One ball, two strikes.
Hasn't had much success against him, though. 1 for 11 in his career.
Oh, just missed. Tim thought it was good enough.
The backup, a two-seamer. Well, that was
Big pitch.
very close.
That's a pitcher's pitch right there.
Hudson, the pitcher, wanted it. Hudson, the umpire, didn't give it to him. Now it's a full count. And he loses Headley.
When you knew a guy was really going good, Tommy, like Headley, how much of that was in your head at the start about pitching him carefully?
Well, especially a guy that's really hot like he is, very much so. You know, you again, that let's not let this guy beat us. And even though it's only the first inning, you still don't want to let them get off to an early lead and get the momentum going. So you're going to be careful with them.
Something else, too, as you look at the way the Padres line up tonight. They have 6 left-handed hitters, 2 switch hitters, and only 1 right-handed batter facing Tim Hudson tonight. That's Cameron Maybin. Does that help or hurt Tim?
Well, it's like I always say, you're not having to move around much. You got all guys on one side of the plate, so you can settle in on a game plan.
I don't think it hurts him at all, because if he's got that two-seamer working that he didn't get the call on Headley, that backs up a little bit. You see so often the left-handed hitters give up on that pitch, and especially if he's ahead in the count, that's a great out pitch for him.
Bouncing ball to the right side. Dan Uggla's got it, and Tim Hudson has no first inning problems tonight. San Diego's retired easily in the first inning. The Braves are up against Clayton Richard when we return. First inning, that's the skipper Freddie Gonzalez. Here's his lineup tonight. Freddie Freeman moves up to the number 3 spot with Jason Hayward getting the night off. Chipper Jones is back in there at third base. Brian McCann and Dan Uggla move up as Reed Johnson takes over for Hayward tonight in right field.
And they'll be facing left-hander Clayton Richard. You see he's been hot, 2-0 in his last 3 starts. Got a 12-inning scoreless streak, so that's all the bad news. And he's left-handed. The good news, 0-4 in his career against the Braves, 0-3 with an 8 ERA here at Turner Field.
And he starts Michael Bourne with a called strike.
guy's an innings eater for the Padres too. He's tied for 4th in innings pitched this year with 161 2/3. So he's been out there a lot, and yet left-handed batters hitting only 196 against him with 1 home run, and he gives up a lot of homers, but only 1 to lefties. And that was Gregor Blanco, the monster home run hitting left-handed hitter for the Giants.
0-2 to Michael. And guys, just from a pace of game standpoint, you might be looking at Mark Burley light. This guy is ready to go to work very quickly. Pitch after pitch. And that's in the air to right center field, and that's going to get down. Maben had a long way to go to catch up to it, and he'll get to the baseball, but not before Bourne leads off with a triple.
Looked like something off speed. Yeah, he tried to go fastball up to get him to chase with 2 strikes. He came back with that changeup, and that got way too much of the plate.
And what happened there was that by doing that, he crossed up the defense because Maben was way over to playing to the off field and left center field, so he had a long way to go to get it. No chance to run that one down in the gap.
9 triples for Michael Bourne. Now an RBI chance for Martin Prado. And he takes a called strike.
Time for the 4 keys to pitching success for Clayton Richard. He's going for 3rd. Well, not like Michael Bourne just did, but he's going for his 3rd straight win. It'll be the 2nd time this year he's done that, and he's going to try to put an end to that Turner hex. As Tommy told you, he's 0-3 here lifetime, giving up 13 earned runs in 12 innings in 3 starts.
High pop fly, shallow right, foul ground. Amarista is under it, makes the catch, and no advance for Michael Bourne. And Martin almost got picked off by that throw to the plate as he made his way up the first base line.
Yeah, I was sitting there kind of watching it, and I'm thinking, oh, no, he's not paying attention. I thought I was going to hit him.
I wonder what would have happened.
I guess I would imagine it's a dead ball.
We almost got the umpire, too.
Yeah. That would have been an odd one.
So Richard gets the first out. Here's Freddie Freeman. And he swings, grounds toward first. And a thought of a play at the plate by Yonder Alonso, but he takes the out at first. 76 RBIs for Freeman, and the Braves have scored the game's first run.
It's 5 at bats for Freddie in this series, and he's seen 5 pitches. But that one is an RBI and snaps the Braves scoreless streak. And then it was funny because Yonder Alonso, after he looked home, then he wasn't sure he even had the ball in his glove. He was looking around trying to find it.
That also ends Clayton Richards' 12 2/3 or 12 1/3 inning scoreless streak. As the Braves have an early tally. Here's Chipper. Strike 1.
Come in there. I was watching Chipper take BP today, and it was fun to watch. He was on today. And if Freddie Gonzalez was pitching, I promise you he'd go 4 for 4.
1-2. And Chipper's part of our Georgia Lottery hitting the jackpot. Look at what they've done against Clayton Richard.
Chipper 6 for 11 and McCann 5 for 7.
He went around and is called out on strikes. Michael Bourne leads off with a triple. Freddie Freeman brings him home with a first inning ground out, and Tim Hudson has a 1-0 lead. Ball is brought to you in part by Ford, by the Home Depot, and by AT&T. Beautiful night in Atlanta. Lots of folks gathering at the Chop House as we move to our second inning. Mark Kotsay, the former Brave, will lead things off. Mark played 88 games with the Braves back in 2008. Real popular guy in the clubhouse. And Padres, a couple of days ago, extended Mark's contract another season. He'll be under contract through the end of the 2013 year for the Padres.
He's earned it. He had a real good year off the bench for Bud Black.
When you're talking about this kind of player, kind of a utility guy, outfield guy, that fifth outfielder, that guy off the bench, I think it speaks to what they think of him as a teammate and a player that they signed him to a contract extension before the season's over.
Ground ball to short. Yanish with backhand. And the stretch at first by Freeman. More on that in a second. Georgia Power customers can take advantage of Georgia Power's refrigerator recycling program. Free pickup for your second working refrigerator or freezer. Plus, you'll get $50. To schedule your free refrigerator pickup or to learn if you qualify, go to georgiapower.com/refrigerator. It's only a hunch, but I'm guessing whatever Kotsay gives them offensively is a big bonus. This is a very young Padre team. And having a guy like that mentoring some of the young players, I'm sure, is worth more than the $1.3 million they're going to pay him next season.
No, it absolutely is. I mean, what you get out of him in terms of production obviously is a bonus. But yeah, he's a great teammate and a popular teammate. And when he is healthy and he is playing, he plays the game the right way, and that certainly is a good example for these young guys to follow.
Two quick strikes to Will Venable. And that's ripped into the seats. Speaking of one of those young players, our Delta Airlines on deck batter is Cameron Maybin.
One other comment on Kotsay. You say 1.3 on the extension. See, with all due respect to his age and his role on the team, he loves to play and he wants to play. And it wasn't like he was going to try to hold out or rob the bank or become a free agent and see what else was out there. He lives in the San Diego area. He's happy there. And I'm not sneezing at 1.3, trust me, but he's smart enough to say, okay, I can play another year and I'll be well compensated for what I do.
Hudson strikes out Venable, his first strikeout tonight. Joe, his stuff looks a lot crisper than we saw in his last outing.
Well, Tommy was asking me before the game, he said, well, what happened to Tim in Philadelphia when he had that lead? And it was hard for me to explain, except that he didn't have good control in the strike zone. I mean, it wasn't like he was walking a bunch of guys. He did walk 3, but when he threw a strike, it was in a bad place.
Well, it's like we talk about with a lot of the younger guys that are throwing too many good strikes. That's not something that Tim typically does. You know, his strikes are usually corners or knees. Good at moving the ball off the plate, trying to expand. He doesn't make a bunch of mistakes over the heart of the plate.
And maybe the most telling statistic about that Hudson start, I think he only had 4 ground ball outs.
Right.
And here tonight, Tim's already got 3 of them with 2 outs in the second.
Well, could have been one of those nights where his ball was running east to west and didn't have much sink on it.
Well, I'm going to guess too, Tom. There's just some nights you go out there and the ball's not doing what you're accustomed to doing, and you're kind of like, uh-oh.
Yeah, there's usually something missing on most nights.
And that's a bad ballpark in Philadelphia to feel that way, I guess, right?
Yeah. You don't want to be without your sinker and in the heart of the plate in that place.
But after he surrendered the 6-1 lead, the Braves came back and scored 6 to win the game. That was a wild one. 12-6. The Braves beat the Phillies. And now Maven drives one to right center field. Michael Bourne says he's got it, and he does on the warning track. And Tim Hudson's out of the second inning with a 1-0 lead.
Bottom of the second. Tom Hart with you. Time to go over some injury news for the Atlanta Braves now. And Matt Diaz's season will come to a premature end. He'll undergo surgery tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. on his thumb to remove some foreign bodies that are still in there from a 2006 landscaping accident. As far as Pinkygate 2012 is concerned, Jack Wilson has attempted to come back, but that was a little bit premature. Still has immense swelling on his pinky. He tried to hit with it at Gwinnett. They have to wait for the swelling to subside before that can happen. And Andrelton Simmons is getting closer and closer every day to returning to baseball action. He has an X-ray scheduled for Friday to see how his hand looks, and he's hoping to resume baseball activity soon. The good news for Andrelton, guys, that cast he has is getting smaller and smaller by the day. Chip?
Thank you, Tom. That certainly is good news. One man with splinters, one still in a splint. As Brian McCann hits ground ball to second. Amarista bobbles, but has time with the catcher running and makes the play for the first out. We say that somewhat tongue-in-cheek, but really a shame for Matt Diaz. This operation will, as Tom said, likely cost him the rest of this year.
And it's something that just keeps lingering. I mean, it's a weird injury that occurred when he was working in his backyard, and he got stabbed with the point of a palm frond, and part of that point broke off in his thumb, and fragments of it just keep showing up. There are I'll call them calluses inside the thumb that develop around or scar tissue around those fragments, and they're pressing against nerves. So just when they think they've got it all, they don't. This time they're going to make sure.
Yeah, that's one of the strangest injuries I've heard of.
Dan Uggla pulls the ball toward third. Headley's got it. You don't often hear a player go to the disabled list with a landscaping injury.
No. And one that was a few years ago.
Yeah.
They just won't quit.
So we hope the operation goes well for Matt, and hopefully he'll be able to resume his big league career if he so chooses next season. Here's Reed Johnson.
Not to take anything away from Eric Stoltz last night, but Freddie Gonzalez was talking about his hitters being a little impatient last night too, swinging a lot of first pitches, and even if they did make contact, they were behind in the count.
That's line to first, and Reed Johnson and the Braves are out 1-2-3 in the second inning. We'll let Joe finish that point when we come back to the third inning with Atlanta up 1-0. Part of the order coming up for the San Diego Padres tonight. That's the skipper, Bud Black. Let's see if he's the subject of our AT&T Uverse trivia question. Who was the last Padre with a 200-hit season?
Is that like after Gwynn?
I was going to say the obvious answer is Gwynn. I would say it had to have been somebody since him.
John Baker swings the first pitch. Another ground ball for Tim tonight. One man down.
Don't forget that Adrian Gonzalez played there too.
Yep. Here's Clayton Richard. He's 5 for 50 this year at the plate.
Finish my point real quick about last night. Freddie went on to say about his hitters that their success usually comes from working counts, running up pitchers' pitch counts, and last night, whether from the late night arrival and being a little fatigued, whatever it was, they were a little over aggressive against a guy who had excellent command last night.
Another ground ball right side. Dan Uggla, glove flip, close play, and just in time to get Richard. Clayton Richard wasn't sure about the call by Jordan Baker at first.
I wasn't too sure either, but
yeah, I wonder if Michael Bourne's running, if he gets the benefit of that call. Of course, if Michael Bourne was running, he would have gotten there faster.
I think that one got hung up a little bit more than Dan was anticipating. I think he was trying to throw a little bit more of a line drive and threw a little more of a changeup.
So Alexi Amarista bats for the second time. He got ahead in the count 3-1 in the first inning, and then hit a fly ball to Reed Johnson in right field. Dan Uggla a chance to tie a record held by many. 3 assists in the inning. 3 ground balls to second for Tim Hudson. And he'll bat second in the bottom of this inning. Atlanta Braves baseball is brought to you in part by Academy Sports and Outdoors, by Georgia Power, by Ram Trucks, and by Blimpie. Plenty of ground balls out of Tim Hudson tonight. He is pitching a beaut so far and has been given an early run. And now Clayton Richard will face Paul Janisch, then Tim, then Michael Bourne in the Atlanta third. What a job this guy has done for the Braves at shortstop. Paul Janisch filling in for Simmons and Jack Wilson. And a comebacker right to Richard, and he ducked and made the grab.
That'll get the heart rate going right there. Well, yeah, back to your point on Janisch. I mean, he's done, you don't, like we keep talking about, you don't hear any complaining about the shortstop position, regardless of what his batting average is.
I was talking to Paul about it before the game. This is not the first time he's been called upon to be an emergency substitute for a really talented shortstop. A couple of years ago with the Reds, Orlando Cabrera got hurt. He had to fill in for 6-7 weeks and really was the lone option. He said at that time he was the only shortstop the Reds had available to play, and he said if I turned my ankle, it was tape it up and go get him.
He's made 1 error and 126 chances with the Braves. That's all that needs to be said.
He's done exactly what they brought him here to do and what they told him they needed him to do, and that's catch the baseball. Don't worry about your hitting.
Joking with it before the game because he's getting so much playing time now. If you deliver the old bench me or trade me speech. He said no. Freddie told him when he got here that he was going to be the starting shortstop for 5 or 6 weeks. Janisch said I'll play for 5 or 6 years if you want me to. And he has indeed been a very big part of this ball club's success. Richards retired 8 straight. And now Michael Bourne, the batter. He tripled and scored the only run.
Clayton Richards is a big guy. 6'5", 245. 28 years old, out of Lafayette, Indiana. He still lives there. Originally with the White Sox. He came over in the Jake Peavy trade.
And he will send this game to the 4th inning. Michael Bourne still to score the game's only run. 1-0. The Braves in front. Braves enjoy a 1-0 advantage. Game 3 of the series comes your way tomorrow night. Here are our Chevron starting pitchers.
Paul Maholm coming off his complete game effort in New York that was outstanding against another tough customer, the former Cincinnati Red, Edinson Volquez. 6:30 for Braves Live. First pitch 7:10. Paul Maholm has pitched outstanding.
So has Tim tonight. He's retired 7 straight men. And fellas, the way both Tim Hudson and Clayton Richard are pitching in this game, Ed Mangan may have to resod the infield. Look at what the ground ball percentages these two starters are tonight.
They're stuck to that game plan tonight, that's for sure.
Both throw pitches in a similar fashion. They both throw cutters. They throw a sinker. Good sliders. Clayton Richard might throw a little bit harder than Tim at times.
Quickly a 1-2 count to Everth Cabrera.
With the pending sale of this team to a group headed up by the O'Malley family, but also including Phil Mickelson, I was interested to read some of Phil Mickelson's quotes this past week.
Strike 3 called. Cabrera's the first out.
And paraphrasing, he was talking about how He said, you know, I'm not a baseball guy. I'll leave that to the people that know what they're doing. And certainly the O'Malley family has a history of that for generations. But he said it's exciting since he grew up in San Diego to be a part of this. And he hopes to right away start developing a reconnect between the community and the team that he thought maybe had gone missing for the last couple of years. They've got a great ballpark. Great situation right there downtown. Great location.
And if I'm not mistaken, Joe, when you were with the Dodgers, the O'Malleys did own the Los Angeles team, so you know firsthand what kind of stewards they are for a major league franchise.
Well, you know how they operated that organization. Nothing but first class. And they were always a draft and develop basis for success, and added as they needed to from the free agency when it became available. But in terms of operations for the community and the fans, San Diego's in for a real treat.
Yeah, they've got all the ingredients for a great situation there. They can put the team together.
Tim's dealing tonight, folks. That's his third strikeout.
Backdoor curveball slider that he likes to go to against left-handers sometimes, and get away from that fastball that he tries to tail back on the inside.
Yonder Alonso's the batter.
And watch this again, because this is a hard pitch to read. It looks like a backdoor slider, and it's going to be harder than it is. So you start to go out and get it, and then all of a sudden it changes plane, it changes direction and goes down. And then you've thought that you're going to have to maybe hit this ball to left field, and then you don't know what to do with it because it just drops. That was an excellent pitch.
Yeah, that's one that the hitter's fooled by the speed and the break. And when you can get both of those going, it's pretty tough.
Another ground ball. This one to second. Alonso is out number 3. Martin Prado's ready to go for the Braves in the bottom of the 4th inning. Hudson sent down 10 straight. Clayton Richards retired 9 in a row. This guy's got kind of a funny motion too, doesn't he? I don't know if you call that a hitch or is that what you'd call it? I mean, it's very noticeable.
There's a definite pause or break.
Cabrera at short. Throws on the run and gets Prado for out number 1. If you can't come out to the game on Sunday, we hope you'll join Fox Sports South at Twin Peaks in Buckhead for a viewing party. That's this Sunday at Twin Peaks in Buckhead to root on the Braves as they play the Dodgers on FS South.
First time Freddie Freeman's taken a pitch since the 9th inning in New York on Sunday when he took a pitch and then got hit by the next one.
That'll show him.
Exactly. Pitcher probably said, hey, why didn't you swing? All right, here.
Boy, he get drilled too, right in the back.
One ball, 2 strikes. Again on the ground at short. 2 outs. Get the first limited edition print of the Chipper Jones commemorative print series presented by SunTrust being given away on Friday against the Dodgers. The print highlights Chipper's role in the Braves' 1995 World Championship team. Call 800-745-3000 or visit Braves.com/tickets today. And you of all people know he played a very big role, didn't he?
Yeah, he did all right.
He's done all right against this guy too. Chipper 6 for 12 lifetime against Clayton Richard, and struck out in the first inning. In the air to right. Venable on the run in the corner. Diving try. It's off his glove and a fair ball. And Chipper is in at second base with 2 outs.
This is the strength of Chipper Jones and that big bat, because he didn't put a big swing on this and he hit it a long way the opposite field. I've been a big fan of Will Venable for a couple of years. He's a good looking player, hasn't really blossomed offensively like I think he can and will, but he's a good player and almost came up with a sensational catch there and splattered with chalk.
Yeah, for a while there I didn't think he had a chance to catch that ball, but he kept going and closed the ground and got there and looked like he just closed his glove a little too early. Hit on the backside of his glove almost, or right on the pinky.
Let's see if the Braves can cash in a 2-out opportunity. The Braves have 2 hits, both of them extra base hits. And a strike to Brian McCann.
Brian's run into a little bit of a dry spell too, just 4 for his last 25.
One ball, 2 strikes.
And at least with a left-handed pitcher and a runner at second base, they're just playing him straight up, no shift on for him.
To the right side. Alonso's got it. Flips to Richard at the bag. And that retires the side. On we go to the 5th inning. Still a 1-0 Braves lead. Turner Field. We head to the top of the 5th inning, where Tim Hudson has set down his last 10 Padres in order. Mark Kotsay will lead off the inning. He rolled out to short back in the San Diego second.
Mark's back, must be feeling good. He tried to tie the game up right there.
He sure did. Bug got his attention there.
Mentioned he played 88 games with the Braves in 2008. Atlanta traded him to the Red Sox late in that season. Remember who they traded him for? Outfielder Luis Somoza.
No wonder I didn't remember.
I suppose Somoza's still in the organization somewhere.
Well, I don't know if we're allowed to look at the media guides because we have a trivia question pending.
Oh,
Yeah, but that's
right. Okay.
it's Braves.
Braves.
Fair enough. All right.
We already got the answer to that. We have it written down.
Ground ball, foul by the Braves dugout. 2 balls, 2 strikes. There's no Moza, Somoza.
Okay, thanks.
In the Braves minor leagues. And there's the first San Diego hit. Mark Kotsay goes the other way. I'll lead off 5th inning single. And time for tonight's Academy Sports and Outdoor Leaderboard.
That's great that the Braves have played so well, winning 2 out of every 3 games since the All-Star break. They just can't get any cooperation from the Nationals, who just clobbered the Giants last night. And Cincinnati with the best mark.
So while tonight the Braves start play with the National League's wild card lead, doesn't look all that good for San Diego. They're 52-65, 11.5 games out of first place. Remember what the Cardinals did last year. Right around this time they were 9.5 games out and made a charge. So I ask you fellas, the way that they're playing now, for one, is that sustainable? And number two, with 9 games left with Arizona, 6 left with Colorado, and a lot of head-to-head play with the Giants and Dodgers out west, could this San Diego ball club under Bud Black make a miraculous run in 2012?
I don't think so, because I don't think they match up well with those first 2 teams you were talking about, especially the Giants and the Dodgers. I think they're outmanned.
I would agree. I would agree, and I would have said the same thing for the Cardinals last year.
You're right. You're right.
But you never know. But no, I mean, I think there's, man, Dodgers are awful strong offensively. The Giants are awful good with their pitching staff. I mean, when you see the Cardinals, what they did last year, you can't ever say that nobody's going to do it. But I don't see it with the Padres.
And the other thing is, as we know, there's a second wild card in the National League this year. And even with the benefit of that possibility for San Diego, they're 13.5 games out of the second wild card with a whole bunch of teams to try to pass.
The Braves will be big Padres fans, though, except for the 7 games they're playing them, because they could help them out.
Look out.
They could help the Braves' cause when it comes to those 2 wild card spots, depending on who lines up to challenge.
Braves go head to head with the Dodgers this weekend. We head to San Francisco on our next road trip. And the Pittsburgh Pirates hanging tough, just 2 back. And Pittsburgh's hosting Los Angeles at home tonight. A ball and 2 strikes to Will Venable, who struck out in the second.
Like Tim just wants to keep throwing it as far inside as he can until he finds out when Venable will quit swinging at it.
You keep going in there, you keep going further, and like you say, see how far he'll go. And when you reach that point where maybe he'll take it for a ball, then you try and get back on the outside corner.
McCann set up outside, and that ball darted in toward Venable's shoes.
Well, maybe one of the reasons I really like Will Venable is because in his career against Atlanta, coming into tonight, 60 at bats, he's hitting .317 with 5 homers. He's done some damage. His dad Max played in the big leagues too.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Line to short, and Giannis has it for the first out.
Let's take a look at that pitch. It's supposed to be a fastball away. McCann set up away, but as I was talking about his start in Philadelphia, control in the strike zone, that had a good part of the plate, and Venable got a hard piece of it.
Yeah, it was a good battle by Venable, and like you say, that pitch was not where Huddy wanted it to end up. Yeah, it was in the right location in terms of the outside corner, I think, but it certainly was more elevated than he wanted that pitch to be.
Now Cameron Maben, the batter, he flied to deep center. And is straightened up with a fastball. 1 ball, no strikes. Maben's hit the ball in the air 4 times in this series. He also has an infield hit.
You say he had an infield hit? So he hit the ball on the ground and reached base.
So he's 1 for 1 when he does that. And 0 for 3 with a sacrifice fly in his other appearances at the plate in the series.
I just don't know what it is about these guys that haven't got it figured out yet, that they're not going to get paid to hit homers because they don't hit enough of them. He's got some pop in his bat, but 1 for every 20 fly balls I don't think is enough.
Even if you want to be somewhat stubborn about it and try to hit home runs until you get 2 strikes, and then at that point in time maybe shorten up a little bit, try and put the ball in play and take advantage of your speed. If you're not willing to do it throughout the at bat, at least maybe do it for a strike and see what happens.
That's foul pass there. Well, I blame you for this, Tom.
Why? What'd I do?
Chicks dig the long ball. Does that bring back any memories? Don't see any commercials saying, hey, chicks love infield hits.
No, you're right. You're right. But you got to be smart enough to recognize what your talents are. And with this gentleman's speed, he's not utilizing it when he's flying out.
Line to second. Uggla's got that. Throw back to first is late. 2 away.
Another one of those pitches that didn't finish down in the zone. Maybe could have put a good swing on it. Uggla made a nice play, and good base running by Kotze too to recognize that, freeze, and get back to the bag.
So 2 outs for the catcher, John Baker. He rolled out to second. That started San Diego's 3rd inning.
This guy's a good hitter. He doesn't play that much. His season average 245, no homers, but he can hit, and he's coming off a lot of arm troubles when he was with the Marlins. I think he might have even had Tommy John surgery. But I remember when he first came up with them, we were talking about what a good compliment he would be in their catching corps, being a left-handed hitter, because he can swing it.
And Joe, you're right. 2010 in September, Dr. James Andrews performed Tommy John surgery on Baker. That's why you see the protective elbow guard on his right arm.
What were his numbers in Florida for that 1 year before the surgery? Was he pretty good?
In 2008, he had 299 in 61 games. Then the next year, 271 in 112 games. 9 homers, 50 RBIs. That latter season.
Look out, Blackie. Got Amarista out of the way, but the manager got hung out on the clothesline there. He could always pitch, but he could never go left or right. Thank heavens for that net.
2-2 to Baker. San Diego's made Hudson work in this inning. This will be the 25th pitch of the frame.
I don't know if Huddy's not getting a good grip on that changeup, or if he doesn't feel good with it, so he's trying to guide it, but he's not throwing it with confidence he normally does.
Well, and it just dawned on me too with this inning, because Kotsay led off the inning with a single. It was a couple of starts ago. He said that his mechanics were messed up out of the stretch too. Something was wrong. He had to go down and work on it.
He gets Baker to roll out. Long inning for Hudson, but he still is enjoying a 1-0 lead in the 5th.
Nothing. And one of the continuing stories around this Braves team is the 6-man rotation that will start when Tommy Hanson comes on the disabled list on Friday. Talked with some of the guys about it today. Roger McDowell, for one, said, maybe we're reinventing the wheel here. I've never been part of it before. You never know. It might just work. The other guys, Ben Sheets said, probably won't affect me. I'm not much of a routine guy anyway. And Paul Mahalam was positive about it. He said, you just got to look at it like it's a day off, and everybody needs one of those this late in the season. But guys, going back to McDowell, he reiterated what Freddie Gonzalez said yesterday. this competition will decide what's best for the team in the long run. And that means not just the rotation, but also the bullpen. Chip?
Thank you, Tom.
That was something that I alluded to earlier tonight with respect to the six-man rotation with no days off. And you referred to that too, Chip, about between now and August 30th. This will create a day off for all the pitchers every time through. That can't be a bad thing.
No, it can't be a bad thing. I mean, look, it's easy for me to sit here and say I'm not a fan of it because that wasn't anything that we ever did. And this was always a time of the year where we thought, hey, we got an advantage on everybody else, and this is where we're going to run away with things, and we took advantage of that. But having said that, again, I don't know what's going on with these guys physically. Maybe some of them are dragging a little bit, and that day off certainly isn't going to hurt anything. There's no question about that. I just know that for the staffs that we had 5 guys that were the anti-bench sheets. Everybody had routines. And that one extra day, while it doesn't seem like a lot, threw off a lot of routines. And I think more than anything else, that's why our guys wouldn't have liked it.
Pop right side and out of play for Dan Uggla. But the point that has to be underscored, it's a 2-week experiment, if you want to call it that. And then when the Phillies are here on the final day of August, we go back to the 5-man rotation, and then one day later, rosters expand, and you can call up whatever you need from the minor leagues to bolster your bench or your bullpen.
Well, let me give you a devil's advocate here. What if it works? What if at the end of 2 weeks you're on a good roll? Do you bust it up then and start back with a 5-man rotation?
High fly ball hammered deep left. Back goes Kotze at the fence. See you later. That really helps. 2-0 your score.
Home run number 14 for Popeye. '21st homer allowed by Richard.
And 20 of them have come by right-handed hitters. Including Uggla's tonight.
So the target, he wanted something really down low out of the zone, and it stayed up.
Up in the middle.
Sharply hit to second, but Amarista's got it. And Reed Johnson is 0 for 2 tonight. But yeah, I mean, Joe, you bring up a good point. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I guess is the good problem you would have if that 6-man experiment, if you want to call it that, works.
I will sit here pretty confidently and say that if they get into this and it works, they're not going to change it. You know, there's no question about that. If something's working, you're going to stay with it. But, you know, whether it's competition now or competition later, there's going to be some competition in terms of who their 5 or 4 guys are. If they're able to get into the postseason and start having to do that, at some point in time, they're going to have to make a decision who those guys are. So whether it's 2 weeks from now or 6 weeks from now, it's coming.
But let's be real. I mean, this is my opinion. It's not going to be Tim Hudson who's going to be an odd man out.
No.
It's not going to be Paul Maholm who's an odd man out. And it's probably not going to be Ben Sheets. So it boils down to 2 spots for maybe 4 guys, 3 guys.
For Minor, for Tommy Hanson, and Chris Medlin.
Yes. I mean, if you want to call it a competition, let's boil it down a little bit.
Yeah, we'll define a little bit more who it's between, I guess.
Giannis with a base hit. He lined one up the middle his first time. This one finds a hole, and that's the second hit of this Braves 5th.
Yeah, it's not going to be Huddy, and it's certainly not. Going to the bullpen is certainly not going to be, I wouldn't think, a good thing for Ben Sheets.
No.
You know, Maholm, Medlin obviously have a little bit of experience pitching out of the bullpen. Medlin's obviously been really good, but and I think more than anything else, it's in fairness to him. They're not just gonna say, okay, well, Tommy Hansen's back and you've done a great job for us, Chris. Thanks a lot. And now go back to the bullpen.
Right.
I think they're trying to be fair to him, and at the same time, really to give it a good look as to does Medlin in the rotation make them a better team.
And isn't it funny how a franchise's fortunes can change from one year to the next? Remember, this time last year, the Braves were really wobbling because so many of their starting pitchers were injured. And they could not seal the deal as far as the wild card was concerned. Now you have too many, if you can use that term, too many quality starting pitchers for not enough spots. So credit the ball club for thinking outside the box and trying to accommodate everybody.
You had 2 guys on the disabled list. And you had Derek Lowe.
Hudson with a 2-strike count. Skies to right. Yanish to first, 2 out.
You had Derek Lowe who was really struggling. So that was 3/5 of your rotation that you had a problem trying to fix. And the Braves didn't have anywhere near the experience last year that they have this year with the likes of Paul Maholm and Ben Sheets. Those were 2 great additions.
Yeah, the Braves were throwing Julio Teheran out there, Randall Delgado, Mike Minor, all of them very talented young prospective pitchers, but they were going out there and pitching 5 a night.
Yeah, not the guys you expected to see out there for you in September.
No.
So like everything else in baseball, it's great debate fodder, and we'll see if it works. Ultimately, that's going to provide the answer.
And I was just going to say that ultimately we'll wait and see, because like Freddie said, it's the best laid plans in the world, but if somebody gets hurt between now and Friday, who knows what's going to happen.
Michael Bourne to left. Mark Kotze puts the squeeze on that to retire the side. Dan Uggla with a leadoff home run. His bat is starting to heat up, and that extends Tim Hudson's lead to 2-0 as we head to the 6th. With this series, Braves 2, Padres nothing. All season long, Braves baseball on Sports South is being presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. The right stuff, the low price, every day. Joe Simpson, Tom Clavin, Tom Hart, Chip Carey with you as we enjoy our Home Depot tools from the dugout.
And the tool here was his glove. Picked it up, flipped it with the glove, and that glove's been put to use a lot already tonight. Nice play. A lot of ground balls to Dan and a line drive hit at him last inning.
And always a good idea to start an inning with the opposing pitcher leading things off. That's what Tim Hudson has working as we are in the 6th already tonight. And Clayton had a big cut.
Did you just say what I think I heard you say?
Yes.
I heard it clear.
Oh, boy.
Clear as a bell.
In the air to center. And Mike Bourne will have that.
Automatic.
One man down. Mr. Athlete. The Braves are excited to bring legendary Southern Rockers Leonard Skinner to Turner Field for a free post-game concert after the Saturday, September 1st game against the Phillies. Visit Braves.com/tickets or call 800-745-3000.
Michael Bourne, after that catch, is giving a signal to the infielders that it's that time of night again. Might have had a little trouble tracking that one.
Amarista takes the ball low. Two and one. Amarista's a little spark plug. 5'6", 5'7", 150 pounds. Originally in the Angels farm system, they acquired him May 3rd for Ernesto Frieri, who's been a terrific addition to that Angels bullpen. Amarista's had a very good first season for the Padres. Freeman takes it to the bag. There's another ground out, 2 away. Here's Cabrera. An idea to keep this guy off the bases. Hasn't come into play tonight, but he's a perfect 19 for 19 in steals this year.
On top of that, he was in AAA at Tucson earlier this season. He was 14 for 14 there. Nobody's caught him this year.
Strike one. Try. 1 ball, 2 strikes. That was tipped and caught. And Hudson works a perfect 6th inning. He enjoys a 2-0 lead.
We head to the Braves half of the 6th inning. As always, our entirely way too difficult trivia questions are presented by our friends at AT&T Universe. Name the last Padre with a 200 or better hit season.
Well, I'm going. There's got to be Wally. Tony Gwynn's way too logical, so I'm going with a Brave connection. Wally Joyner.
I'm going to go Adrian Gonzalez.
I wrote down about 7 names on Tommy's list. We had Kilby Veras, Brett Boone, Wally Joyner, Ken Caminiti, Alan Wiggins, or Gary Templeton.
So you can't pick all of them.
I'll say Kilby Veras. The man that collects watches out of Northwestern, Mark Loretta.
I forgot he even played there.
She could ask that when we go back to San Diego, yes. And we still won't get it.
Exactly.
And that's pulled foul. That's a 2008. Is that the year he did that? (2004). Okay, 2004 for Loretta. Padres that year in 2004 won 87 games and drew 3 million people, which is a franchise record in attendance. As you guys mentioned, aren't too many prettier places to watch a ball game than Petco Park.
First year, Laser Baker tells us, has the first year of the park.
There just aren't too many better venues overall, but particularly as a visiting player, where you can walk to the ballpark, walk back, grab something to eat on the way back. I mean, it's a good setup.
Line drive into right center field will drop in front of Cameron Maybin. Team Prado 1 for 3 tonight.
Good at bat. Pulled one down the third baseline hard. He fouled one off into the stands to the right, and then he takes one to the center of the ballpark. Great at bat.
Yeah, the only negative about the San Diego Padres home baseball facility is that it is a ballpark name fraught with danger for certain broadcasters.
Yes.
Especially when milestones are made. Here's Freddie Freeman. Freddie knocked in the first run of the game on a ground ball after Michael Bourne tripled to lead things off. Dan Uggla homered in the 5th. That's all Tim's needed. A line drive into right field past Alonso. Prado on his way to third. Atlanta runners at the corners and nobody out the 6th.
I know that left-handers haven't done much against this guy this year, and their defensive alignment would tell you such. But look how far Will Venable was off the line for Freddie Freeman. And granted, Richard made a mistake up and in that he turned on, but boy, Venable had a mile to go just to get that clean single.
Yeah, but he was still trying to go in there, which, you know, I can see you going in there for a purpose if you're playing the guys the other way and you're going to throw them a pitch in off the plate that's not for a strike. But you're really flirting with crossing up your defense if you're going in there for a strike.
Let's see if Chipper could do some serious damage here. The infield creeps in with nobody out. And a fly ball foul out of play into the club level. Strike 1. A 4th inning double for Chipper pulls him to within 3 hits of 2,700.
We've said this many times, but left-handers, I think, do Chipper a favor when they try to run the ball away from him. They're concerned about what he does if he turns on the ball inside. But when you run the ball middle plate away, he can hit the ball to right center with the best of them and with some power. Good splits for a guy 40.
Yeah, not too bad.
Down and in. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Nice stop by Baker.
Laser?
That's not Laser Baker. No relation, but he did stop a laser.
Up the middle, base hit for Chipper. Martin Prado scores. It's a 3-0 game.
It's kind of like that pitch he tomahawked last night. This one he bangs right back through the middle. Last night he turned on it, pulled it to left field.
Yeah. Another mistake up in the zone.
Watch how he gets up on the same plane as the pitch. Doesn't go up to it, doesn't uppercut it, levels off on it. That's 17 seasons for Chipper with 50 or more RBIs.
Amazing. Brian McCann with 2 on and nobody out. Fly ball to left. Late break for Kotze, but Mark gets there and flips back to second, but not in time to double up Freddie Freeman. 1 out. Dan Uggla snapped an 0 for 10 with a solo home run his last time up.
Pretty much a no doubter too. They're supposed to be down and away, and he up and in the inner third.
And for Richard, tonight's kind of a familiar theme. We talked earlier about how much run support Tim Hudson gets, the 2nd highest supported starter in the National League behind Lance Lynn of the Cardinals, I believe. Richard's not so lucky. The Padres have scored 2 runs or less in 9 of his first 24 starts this season.
And he's coming off a game. His last start, a 5-hit shutout of the Cubs. 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, and he won the game 2-0.
High fly to center. Maben sets up, makes the catch. Freddie's going to tag and head to third. Close play, but he's in safely.
Good coaching there from Brian Snitker. He kind of got Freddie's attention and told him to tag up. He hustled back and had time to get there and get to third.
Mentioned that shutout by Clayton Richard. Only the 3rd left-hander to toss a shutout at Petco Park, and the first ever left-hander for the Padres to do that in their home stadium. Wow. Lyndon Rush did it with Chicago. Randy Johnson did it for the Diamondbacks. And that's hard to believe, as good a pitcher's park as that place is supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's not a lot of fun going through this when you're going through it in the course of a year, and it seems like every game is, you don't get any runs and they're nail biters, but this will serve him well in the long run, learning how to pitch in these games.
1-0 to Reed Johnson. And he looks downstairs, ball 2. To short, and Cabrera will flip to second, and that will retire the side. A 2-hit game for Chipper Jones. He notches his 50th RBI, and Atlanta extends its lead to 3-0 as we head to the 7th. By Nissan, by Jameson Inn, by the Georgia Lottery, and by McDonald's. Great night for the Braves. Tim Hudson's twirling a one-hitter tonight. And he has a 3-0 advantage as Chase Headley greets him at the start of the San Diego 7th. As we said at the start of the broadcast, Tim's always had good luck against the Padres. He's unbeaten against them. He's 5-0. He's won his last 5 decisions. The Braves have won his last 7 starts dating back to July 6th. Tim didn't allow that lone hit until the 5th inning when Mark Kotze hit a line drive the other way for a clean single. Chipper bobbles, recovers, and gets Headley by a step.
There's a part of his game that maybe goes a little underrated, and that's his arm. He's laughing here because kind of ate him up with some spin, but then he had to put something on it to get Headley, who runs well. And Chipper's got a good arm. You rarely see him make an errant throw on a routine play, but he's got a good arm too.
He does have good, but he gets himself in such good position that most of the time that he doesn't have to air it out because he gives him time. He gives himself time to make a quick, accurate throw.
At some point, if Chipper's honored with a statue at the ballpark, almost certainly it'll be showing off that great swing that's going to take him to the Hall of Fame. But you can make a case for showing off the arm. Most commonly with that barehanded grab and throw motion. And there might, Joe, I think you talked about this earlier this season, might only be one statue of a third baseman in the game that features a guy playing defense. That's the one in Chicago outside Wrigley Field for Ron Santo.
Yeah, at least with a glove on, you're right. The one in Philadelphia is that classic follow through of Mike Schmidt's swinging. And I'm assuming they have one in Kansas City for Mr. Brett, but I haven't seen it. And that would probably be I'm guessing a Charlie Lau follow through or stance.
Either that or being restrained by you.
I don't think so.
2 balls, 2 strikes. What an encouraging sign for the Braves tonight that Tim's pitching the way he is after his disappointing no decision, frankly, against the Phillies. He's been in command from the game's first pitch. And Alonso, with a line drive to center field, has his 4th hit of the series. We hope you'll make plans to join us this weekend for the Delta Civil Rights Weekend here at the ballpark. Events include the Beacon Awards luncheon presented by Belk and supported by Kia Saturday afternoon, and the Delta Civil Rights game that night. Visit Braves.com/civil rights or call 800-745-3000 for your tickets. That's the last pitch of the night thrown by Tim Hudson. 6 innings and 1/3, and he'll get a big ovation from this crowd in Atlanta. He leaves with a 3-0 lead, and we're back after this. But I guess, guys, a little bit surprising, as well as he's pitching, that he's out of this game in the 7th inning, allowing just 2 hits.
97 pitches, too. Hadn't had to work too hard, and has a 2-hit shutout working.
So Johnny Venders answers the AT&T call to the bullpen. 48th game for the Braves lefty reliever. And the Braves also double switch. They bring on Jason Hayward. He takes over for Reed Johnson and right. Chris Denorfia comes on and bats for Mark Kotsay. Denorfia had a big game last night. He doubled, tripled, and scored twice. Has killed lefties all year long. So Bud Black goes to his bench, trying to creep a little closer. It's 3-0 Braves.
Nice off-speed pitch there. That was diving. As Chip said, good splits for DeNorfia. Mostly in a platoon role, tearing up left-handers.
That looked familiar, didn't it? Fender strikes out the first man he's assigned in the inning.
That was old Johnny Venters right there. That was an overmatched at bat.
Now Logan Forsythe will come on at bat for Will Venable.
You know, go back to your point on Huddy, Chip, how he bounced back from his last start, and it's not surprising, with the exception of back-to-back starts that he had against Washington and St. Louis in late May. Every time he's had a bad outing, he's come back with something solid. He went 6 innings in Colorado, had a bad game, came back 7 innings, 1 run. Had the 2 bad ones in May, came back with a 9-inning shutout, had a bad one, 5 innings in New York against the Yankees, came back with an 8-inning game, and then here again tonight. So that's what makes him good. That's what makes him your ace, that you know you might get a bad start out of him every now and then, but it's going to be very rare you're going to get 2 in a row out of him.
That was something we talked about, I believe, in the pregame show on Braves Live. It's been somewhat of a roller coaster year for Tim Hudson, but the valleys haven't been very steep ones. They've been just very slow, gentle rollers for the right-hander.
He's, you know, just keep saying the same things about him. He's going to battle and he's going to give you a chance.
And the other part about being pulled here was that we don't know any variables about how he's feeling. We don't know how if his ankle might be bothering him a little bit too, and to save that, make sure that doesn't flare up.
Two balls and a strike to Logan Forsythe. Forsythe started the game last night at shortstop and recorded a couple of hits. Don't want to bring the potential tying run to the plate in the 7th. Johnny needs to make a good pitch here. 3 balls and a strike. And he didn't. 2 on, 2 out. And Cameron Maben will be announced. Chad Durbin getting ready in a big hurry. And Roger McDowell will buy some more time. See if Venters continues in the game after this meeting.
First time the Padres have had a runner in scoring position.
Maben's hit a deep fly to center. He's lined out to second. Good start. Strike 1.
No doubt about what he was thinking on the first pitch too, and that was getting something middle of the plate in. He could golf out of here.
Good pitch selection right there.
Would he throw it 3 times in a row?
He might. I'd like to see him get it a little bit more in the outside corner and down if he's going to. Like that. Very good pitch.
As you were talking last night, maybe he's thinking outside. Maybe that slider off the back foot. Missed with it, 2-2.
Yeah, that's where it went.
Good idea, just not quite close enough. So he can still do pretty much anything he wants here. Go back to that slider in again. He can go fastball in off the plate, or even that hard sinker or changeup back away.
Struck him out. He took something off, and he has his second strikeout of the inning. He preserves the shutout bid for Tim Hudson, and the Braves maintain their 3-0 lead. It's in the ball game, and let's enjoy tonight's McDonald's fan of the game.
That young lady's had a lot to cheer about tonight. 3-0 Braves lead. Good pitching by Tim Hudson and Johnny Benners.
And so Paul Janisch will lead things off for Atlanta. Here are the defensive changes for the Padres after all of those pinch hitting appearances. Amarista moves from second to left. Chris Denorfius stays in the game to play right. Logan Forsythe is now manning second base.
Remember, for the Braves, after making a double switch in the top of the inning, Jason Hayward is batting second this inning in the 9 spot.
Base hit to left for Janisch. He's hit the ball on the button 3 times tonight. Don't miss out on the Braves Father-Daughter Day, Saturday, September 1st against the Phillies. Tickets start at $20 each and include a special Father-Daughter Day t-shirt, as well as access to a pregame parade. Visit Braves.com/Father-Daughter for tickets. It's also the Leonard Skinner postgame concert.
Nice night out for dads and daughters. Ball game at Leonard Skinner.
Good stop by Baker. 1 ball, no strikes. Braves are 5.5 back in the East. We'll look for a little help from the Giants tonight. Washington plays at AT&T Park starting at 10:15 Eastern. It'll be Jordan Zimmerman and Madison Bumgarner pitching in Game 2 of that series.
Who got beat up on last night? Vogelsong? Is that how you say his name?
Vogelsong, who had the best home ERA in the National League, if not all of baseball.
I remember looking at that last night and thinking that, oh, okay, well, they got a good guy going for him to give the Braves some help, and then I saw the score. I was like, oh my goodness.
Giants are 0-4 against Washington, and as good as the Giants pitching has been, San Francisco's been outscored 38-14 in the season series by Washington so far this year. Wow. So hopefully tonight that'll change. Braves can take care of their own business tonight.
We talked about Baker's elbow surgery. He's only caught 5 of 39 base stealers.
Forsythe at second, and the throw back to first is late from Cabrera. Giannis is forced. Hayward's aboard with 1 out, and Michael Bourne's coming up.
So that situation still exists for Jason if he wants to try and swipe a bag. That's only 11% for Baker on catching base stealers.
Good percentage for Hayward, 15 for 20. And a big hole right side for Michael Bourne. Michael try to call time there?
I don't know if he tried to call time or if he got picked off and thought that he was going to first or he was taken all the way.
Well, it worked out. That's a good point. He might have gotten picked off.
Now he gets time called.
Good lesson right there for pitchers at home. You want to try and control the running game, and always helps to have a good pickoff move. But if you don't, that's one of the ways you do it right there. You change your times to the plate.
For a while there, Tommy, I thought that was a lost art in our game with all the home runs that were being hit, but speed seems to be making a comeback.
It definitely is.
Huge jump for Hayward, and no chance at all for Baker.
You know, that's just a total cat and mouse game right there. I mean, that's Jason guessed right, Clayton guessed wrong, and that's why he got such a huge jump. I mean, with left-handers, you get your Andy Pettits of the world that have great pickoff moves, but most of the time when it's a stolen base, they're going on first move and hoping they guess right.
So an RBI chance for Michael. Low and outside, 2-1.
As you talked about with his lack of run support, that's why he's paying so much attention. He knows 3-0 is a stretch for the season that he's had so far. 4-0 is really going to be difficult to come back from. So that's a huge run in his mind out there.
Good cut. Michael upset that he missed it. Michael's a rare high ball hitter for a left-handed hitter, and he got one up around the letters and he missed it.
Richard can't get it. Forsythe can't make a throw. Fires back to third, and Hayward got back safely.
Forsythe just into the ball game, so he gets tested right away here, and didn't have the ball in his hand cleanly to even make a play. And I don't know how Jason got in there. I guess that long arm of his barely beating the throwback.
And Brian Runke had great position to make the call. So that's the last sequence of the game for Clayton Richard. He will depart down 3 runs with 2 Braves aboard for Martin Prado. He ran into Tim Hudson. Didn't pitch poorly. Gave up just 3 runs, but far too many in tonight's ball game. And now he'll give way to Brad Boxberger. But first, tonight's Jamison in upcoming schedule.
2 more games with the Pods beginning tomorrow night. Edinson Volquez against Paul Mahalam, and Chris Medlin in the finale Thursday night against former Brave Jason Marquis. Braves Live begins our action at 6:30 each night.
So here is Brad Boxberger, part of that bevy of players acquired from the Reds for Matt Latos. Edinson Volquez, Yonder Alonso, Yasmani Grandal, and Brad Boxberger for Matt Latos right before Christmas last year.
And Boxberger just called up June 10th, so he's been up here a little while. Was at Tucson, 2-2 with a 3 ERA and 5 saves at Tucson.
He was another #1 pick by the Reds in the 2009 draft. Played college ball at USC, as did his father. His father, Rod, was the MVP of the 1978 USC national team, national championship team that went 54-9 that year. So the infield in for Martin Prado. Runners at the corners, 1 out.
Fastball, slider, changeup for Boxberger. His fastball in the low 90s. And then who comes out of the bullpen and doesn't throw somewhere between 92 and 992 anymore? Can't see the sign, so Baker's got to get a little chalk on his fingers. He's played here before, Baker, with the Marlins.
Last thing Baker wants is to be crossed up with a runner at third.
Well,
he put down a sign for a fastball, and I thought he got a fastball. Just was
held on a little too long.
Yeah.
So in a spot like this, Tommy, how does a catcher give signs to the pitcher if he's having trouble seeing them?
Well, you can either go indicators, which is pretty complicated. You touch somewhere and that's your pitch, or you just go to pumps. You know, you pump one time as a fastball, pump 2 times breaking ball. You know, instead of using the fingers, because it can be tough to see. So it looks like they're going indicator.
Yeah, they did.
Runner at first goes. The pitch is called a strike and an easy stolen base for Michael Bourne. That takes away a chance for the double play. And now a hit could score 2 runs for Martin.
Number 31 for Michael. Nobody even covering, so as you said, an easy one.
Two balls and a strike.
What a great place to be if you're Martin Prado with Hayward at third and Bourne at second. Base hit anywhere gets you 2. At least one that leaves the infield.
Fouled back for a full count. In the air, left center, and hammered. Maben going back. That one is gone. A home run for Prado.
It had been a while for Martin, but boy, did he touch one off here. Fastball, down and in, no stride, great extension, and I mean clobbered it. His first homer since June 20th against the Yankees and Phil Hughes. And he's over 50 RBIs, 51.
So it's a 6-run Atlanta lead for Freddie Freeman.
I think if you were home listening to this game on the radio, that sounded like a home run.
Yeah, it did.
That ball was hit hard.
So last night, Braves road weary, jet lagged, sleepy eyed. Nothing wrong with the offense tonight. 6 runs on 10 hits. And Freddie is the second out. Big cheer for Chipper Jones, who has 2 more hits tonight. I told you earlier, fellas, he's now 2 away from 2,700. As you know, Chipper's a lifetime 304 hitter. How many at-bats could Chipper Jones go 0-4 before his lifetime average dipped below 300?
I'm saying a bunch.
Gretchen looked it up. He would have to go 0 for 147 to dip below 300 lifetime.
I'm going to say that's not going to happen. If that's a trivia question, I'm going to say that's not going to happen.
And that counts as a win for us upstairs. Isn't that a remarkable number, though?
When you've played as long as he has, that's a comfort, too. Balls, 2 strikes.
Listen to that crack again, Tommy.
Boxberger knew it.
In the air to center. And Chipper will be the 3rd and final out of the inning. 3 more runs across in the Atlanta 7th. Martin Prado hits a 3-run blast. And that extends the Atlanta lead to 6-0. Six nothing as we head to the 8th inning. Here's some of the particulars on our Blimpie game summary.
Good ball game up until just now when Prado hit the 3-run homer to blow it open. Both Tim Hudson, Clayton Richard pitched pretty well. No walks for Richard, just 1 strikeout, but Braves had already put a couple on the board. In fact, 3-0 going into the 7th.
And time for our AT&T call to the bullpen. Luis Avilan is on to pitch the Atlanta 8th. And Luis has done good work. This is his 12th outing of the season.
Again, and as long as he can take care of business here in the 8th and maybe even the 9th, back into the bullpen, get some more rest.
So John Baker, the pitcher spot, and then the leadoff spot due for San Diego in the 8th. John is 0 for 2 in the game. High hopper towards second. Funny spin for Uggla. And no chance for Dan to make the play. So Baker legs out at infield. Hit to start the inning.
He might have had a chance, but the ball took a funny bounce. Must have had a lot of spin on it. Watch Dan have to change his angle right there. Like a Tom Glavine sand wedge.
Well,
just biting right there by the pin.
By accident and all that.
So Jesus Guzman will come on and pinch hit for Boxberger. Guzman, another Padre that hits lefties well, and he has 9 pinch hits for the season. And is down a quick strike. That's upstairs. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I've noticed the patch on the sleeve of the Padres last night or tonight, the number 48. That's to honor their bullpen coach, Darryl Ackerfeld, who lost his battle with cancer earlier this year, and a tribute to him. Highly respected member of their staff.
Down a play by Guzman. Darryl was the longest tenured coach in the Padres staff. 11 full years as the San Diego bullpen coach. Up and in, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
This Padres team last year lost 91 games and finished last in the division, but the year before, how soon we forget, they won 92 games and finished second in the division, just 2 back. But Black in his 6th year, he's done a good job.
Guzman's not going easily in the 8th. And stays alive. 2 balls, 2 strikes. I think it'll be very interesting to see what new ownership does for the Padres. We've mentioned a couple of times they have a great ballpark. They've made some terrific trades, acquiring an awful lot of young talent. We'll see how it works out in the National League West.
Well, I'm told they got a great new TV deal that might give them a little wherewithal to expand their payroll. And with that in mind, I hope they take into consideration the job Bud Black's done and keep him to administer that.
Fly to right. And Guzman is the first out. Get your tickets now for the Chipper Jones bobblehead giveaway on Thursday against the Padres. Coca-Cola presents that for us. The first 20,000 fans will get a chance to take home this great collector's item. Visit Braves.com/tickets. Call 800-745-3000. Don't know for sure how many managers of the Dodgers served under the O'Malley family. You know, Walter Alston was one and Tommy Lasorda was another.
Yeah, wasn't many, was there?
That's about it. Maybe Billy Russell.
Right. So for a family that values stability in that manager's chair, perhaps that will indeed serve Bud Black well if he remains in San Diego.
It was a different time, of course, but I think Walter Alston's tenure was all 1-year contracts, 23 of them when he was there.
Well, I think there's definitely some talent here to build around. There's certainly some optimism based on how they've turned their season around. They're playing good baseball now, and they got some guys to build. I mean, they got some good young players, some good young pitchers. We saw 2 in the last 2 games. See another one tomorrow night.
And 2 fellas, they didn't do a complete and total breakdown like Houston did. And I'm not suggesting that Houston did anything right or wrong. I'm sure it was very tempting to trade Chase Headley. I'm sure it was very difficult to think about, okay, do we sign and keep Carlos Quentin here? They did that. So they've made some, at least baby steps toward putting together a core for this franchise.
Well, keeping those kinds of guys around might give you an indication of what they think they have coming, and an indication as to how close maybe they think they are to fielding a much more competitive team.
Well, I think one big advantage they have is their very big ballpark. Whatever it takes away from their offense, you would think is going to make their pitching better over the long haul. You would think.
But think about the offense. With a big ballpark, it's hard to go out and find that many power hitters that help you compete in a big ballpark, and they've been out homered for the year now, 82 to 113. 82 for the Padres. So the other way you go is speed. Get some guys who can hit some gappers, hit some triples, steal some bases, and compete that way, and play good defense. Get guys that can catch the ball behind your pitching staff.
What about there is a third option. Do what the Mets did. Move the fences in some spots in their ballpark.
I'm sure that'll be part of the consideration given by the new owners too.
High fly to left by Amarista. Martin gives ground and makes the catch. That's the second out of the inning.
It sounds like an easy fix, or something that you do that might help your ball club be on more even ground in terms of power. But if you've drafted and developed players to play in your ballpark, it depends on what all you've got invested in that before you start making wholesale changes to your field.
Yeah, you've got to decide what gives you the better chance of winning with the makeup of your club as is. Moving the fences in so maybe you do hit some more home runs, or is it leaving it the way that it is because your team is more geared towards pitching and speed?
Yeah. And especially that latter point, because the other team gets to hit too. And if they come to town with more power than you, it may help the opponents more than it helps you at home.
Right, but as much as anything else, sorry, Joe, as much as anything else, I think they're very similar in that regard to where we were as an organization in 1990. They got to get some guys that can play defense and play it much better than they have been.
More errors than anybody in the National League. They've stolen 100 bases, been caught 33 times. That's not a horrible ratio.
When you look at their pitching staff, they're putting the ball in. They're making guys put the ball in play. They're last in the league, or first, however you look at it, in terms of walks that they don't walk anybody.
Up the middle, hit for Cabrera. And two are on with 2 outs. And that not walking people certainly follows the trend of this series. First 2 games to this point, we've had 1 total walk by both pitching staffs.
If you got a pitching staff that throws strikes, you got 2 total walks, both by the Braves. The Padres haven't walked anybody. But if you've got a pitching staff that throws strikes, and you've got a team that's geared around a little bit of speed, then you've got to have some guys that are going to make those plays behind your pitchers who are doing their job, going out there and throwing strikes.
Well, this guy certainly has held up his end of the offensive bargain. Chase Headley, 19 homers, 73 RBIs. Which are great numbers no matter how you look at them. But to follow up on your point last night, he hasn't had a whole lot of help in front of or behind him in this lineup.
No, he's had a great year and a great place to start when you're building your club. Switch hitter, solid from both sides. Quickly, Tom, the 91 team, worst to first. John Sherholtz comes in, brings in Pendleton, Belliard, Bream. You guys start catching the ball better. You're pitching well. But compared to this Padres team, I mean, you had a better offensive club too. Terry Pendleton wins the MVP. You had David Justice. You had Ron Gant. You had Jeff Blauser, Sid Bream. So it wasn't like the cupboard was bare offensively either.
No, I think we were a little bit deeper in terms of our overall offense than the Padres probably are right now. And I say that with all due respect. I don't know these guys all that well. There are some guys here that you watch and that I like what I see. There's some potential there, but bringing in guys like Pendleton and Bream, and you already had David Justice, Ronnie Gant, Jeff Blauser, those guys were all a little bit more established in terms of what you would expect out of them offensively, whereas I think these guys, aside from Headley and Carlos Quinton, there's a lot of unknown commodities out there. They might pan out, they might not.
Hot shot to Giannis. He'll flip to second, And Headley and the Padres are done in the 8th inning. Still an Atlanta shutout bid. 6-0 remains your score. Your score here at Turner Field. The Braves hoping to even up this series at a game apiece. Michael Bourne scored 2 runs. Martin Prado has scored 2 runs. Martin and Dan Uggla have hit homers. And the Braves trying to win their 67th game of the season and their 8th in the month of August. In this 8th inning, Brian McCann, Dan Uggla, and then the pitcher spot scheduled for Atlanta.
And the major league debut for a pitcher just coming into the game. That's always fun to watch. Tom Lane takes over for Boxberger. Those are his numbers at AA. 0-5 with a 3.28 ERA. A lot of strikeouts. Probably doing some closing down there in AA. Originally in the Arizona organization, a 26th round pick in 2007.
And his first pitch as a big leaguer is a swinging strike to Brian McCann.
Told his season numbers by Gretchen is that he is 0-10 combined between AA and AAA.
Well, he threw 3 strikes and retired Brian McCann for his first out as a big league pitcher.
Yeah, I don't think you could prove it by Brian right now. They're going to throw the ball out for him. Big sweeping sidearm breaking ball.
All right, who was the first batter you faced in the big leagues?
Whoever led off for the Houston Astros in 1987. I don't know.
Craig Reynolds?
I don't think so. Billy Hatcher, maybe? I don't know. It's all a blur. It didn't last very long. It wasn't very good. Try to forget about it as much as I could.
Sorry I brought it up. Here's Uggla.
As my good friend Jack Kennedy will remind me, I'm sure, at some point in time, that was the first of 203 losses in my career.
1 ball, 1 strike for Dan Uggla. told that leadoff hitter was Gerald Young.
No, couldn't. I don't think he was in the big leagues then yet.
That's what I was told.
I mean, it's possible.
How do you know? You can't even remember it.
Well, I'm saying it's possible because we were on the same track. We played against each other in the minor leagues, but I didn't think he got called up till '88. But it's very possible. Probably stole a base too.
2 hitters, 2 strikeouts.
Sounds like he's got some family down below us that are getting awfully excited too. What a start for him.
And as most major league pitchers who go from the big leagues to the minor leagues and rehab assignments will tell you, pitching at this level is a lot easier. And this kid's, I think, thinking the same thing at the moment.
And isn't that funny? Casual fan would think the exact opposite.
Oh yeah. Well, it's funny. I remember talking to Ben Sheets after his first start, and he was talking about it. And he said, "I don't have good enough stuff to pitch in the minor leagues." So you got to throw 96 down there.
Tyler Pasternicki's done some good work off the bench for the Braves. And he pinch hits for Luis Avilan. Tyler's 4 for 12 with a pinch hit homer this year. We don't know for sure, but that might be Tom Lane's family.
That looks like a pitcher's mom right there.
It sure does. It sure does. Padres AAA team at Tucson. We told you that earlier. Their AA team is in San Antonio.
Where is he from? Is he from around here? We don't. There's nothing on him in the book, right?
Truck tells us he was born in St. Louis, but we don't know where he grew up. If that's home.
3 balls and a strike. Now full count.
That's a mom.
Yep.
Oh, this is great. Almost struck out the side in his debut. He got the pitch made. Catcher couldn't hold on to it. And Mom's about to pass out.
Well, it's great that we're showing this because we always applaud the players for all their hard work and sacrifice. Think about what the moms and dads have done to give this kid a chance. And he did strike out the side in his big league debut. Congratulations to Tom Lane. An amazing inning in so many ways. 6-0 your score. Braves trying to complete the shutout, but they were given a little padding here on tonight's Toyota play of the game. This big swing from Martin Prado, his first home run since June 30th. June 20th, actually, against the Yankees. His 6th of the year gave the Braves a big cushion. It's now 6-zip on that 3-run homer.
And so the AT&T call to the bullpen will go out to Craig Kimbrel. And you might be asking, well, why is Fredi Gonzalez using his closer in a non-save situation? And frankly, fellas, the answer is pretty simple. This is only Craig's 4th appearance this month. So the back end of the Braves pen is very well rested. And hopefully that won't lead to rust as Yonder Alonso turns around a 96-mile-an-hour fastball and has a leadoff hit, his 2nd of the night. Coming up next on Braves Live, presented by AT&T, we'll hear from Fredi Gonzalez. We'll get sound from the locker room, and we will enjoy all of tonight's highlights.
And I know you have to do this, but it always seems like every time you do this, you get 5 straight days in a row where you could get your closer in there.
Here's Chris Denorfia. He struck out in the 7th. He came on as a pinch hitter in that inning. And has stayed in the game to play right field. Strike 1. Braves will put the first score on the board in the East tonight, it appears. Again, Washington plays in San Francisco. That game starts in about a half hour at AT&T Park. One and two. That one gets away from Brian McCann, but first base was occupied by Alonso, so no chance for Denorfia to advance. Runner at second, 1 out.
Mac tried to backhand that one and bounced and then went right off his glove.
It's ruled a strikeout and a wild pitch. Kimbrel now has fanned at least one batter in 27 of his last 28 games. And 53 strikeouts in that stretch. No. High fly to right. Jason Hayward going back and nearly overran it in the corner. Makes the grab. Tagging and moving to third is Alonso, but that cost San Diego its 2nd out of the inning. And Cameron Maben stands between Craig Kimbrel and a Braves win.
Yeah, nice bounce back from last night. And Michael Bourne setting the tone with that leadoff triple and helping get the Braves on the board in the first inning. Helped everybody relax a little bit too.
At the knees, strike 1. He went 0-2.
Yes, he did. Another 0-2 pitch. And this one ends the game. It's right down the middle. Craig Kimbrell puts the finishing touches on a Braves shutout. 6-0 the final score tonight. The Padres are blanked for the 10th time in this 2012 season. The Braves earn their 7th shutout win. Back with more